Welcome and thank you for joining us for our sixth Agro Lunch and Learn webinar of 2023. We are delighted to have Eurofins AgroScience Services as the generous sponsor of this webinar series. The AGRO Division extends our heartfelt appreciation to Eurofins for their continuous support. My name is Solito Sumalong, the Director of Regulatory Services at Agri Authority, based in Kansas City. It is my privilege to introduce our moderator for today's webinar. Today, for our special 90-minute event, we're using the chat function, as you can see below on the bottom of your screens, for some activities and the poll function for others. Before introducing our moderator, let me emphasize the immense benefits of joining AGRO. Enhance your science, expand your scientific network, and support your professional development. Visit agrodiv.org and click on Become a Member to join as an affiliate for only $20 a year, regardless of your membership status with the American Chemical Society. For the next fall meeting in Denver, Colorado, we are planning exciting agro programming in line with the meeting theme, Elevating Chemistry. The organizing team reminds organizers that will be symposium organizers, that November 7th is the call for abstracts deadline. For any programming inquiries, please reach out to EJ Gallo's James Foster, the program chair for Denver 2024. Now, I'm proud to introduce our moderator. She's done a tremendous amount of work, and I've loved working with her on this exciting program today. Dina Barrett is a senior chemist with the U.S. EPA Office of Pesticide Programs. Dina received her PhD in agronomy with specialization in pesticide residue chemistry at the University of Arkansas before embarking on a career in pesticide regulatory science, emphasizing pesticide fate, transport, and exposure modeling and risk assessment. Dina has participated in and organized numerous agro symposia over the years and is definitely honored to serve on the Agro Executive Committee and contribute to Agro's mission. And now, with no further delay, take it away, Dina.
Oh, first I have to say, not VP of Regulatory Affairs at Eurofins.
Oh my God, sorry. Yes, sorry about that.
Just in case there's any misunderstanding.
That is my bad.
Oh, no problem. We want to have fun here, so this is, and we need to, yeah, so welcome everyone. So we want to look back just a little bit at the celebration in San Francisco. It was a really grand time there, and we had many of our past agro chairs there to join in the celebration. And want to thank Jeanette Van Nieman and Ken Recke and their team for organizing the program there, including a really marvelous symposium from Chemistry for and from Agriculture, which we'll be talking about a few highlights from and later, and of course, the wonderful Gala event with the address by ACS President Judy Giardin, and had a great agricultural tour at the University of California at Davis, primarily, I think it was, and so much more. And let's see. Rod Bennett, do you want to say a few words about your experience there right now?
Yeah, thank you, Dana. Dina, I just wanted to mention to folks that if they weren't able to come to this one, I think that, the main thing is come to Agro. One of the things we have at Agro is a lot of fun and excitement, as well as we're on the cutting edge of science. Agro over the years has really been at the forefront of all the different opportunities within ACS. We've usually been an innovative group, and they actually set the standard for most of the things that are being done at ACS these days. So as you can see here, we had a large group that came to the gala. We had our timeline at the back, which you can't quite see, but where the black drapes are. We had a wonderful dinner. People played all kinds of games, which you'll probably hear about later, which were a lot of fun. And then later we went on the bus tour, and I did want to mention Andrew Coates and all his contributions to the bus tour, which was very exciting. And then all the thank yous to the University of California at Davis for their lectures, and also for being able to look at the winery and also the beer making opportunities. Thank you, Dina.
Thank you, Rod. Sounds wonderful. I wish I could have been there in person. Unfortunately, I was only a virtual attendee of the meeting. Okay, so now some of us are going to reflect on what Agro has meant to us, and I can start things off, and then the rest of you can speak as you wish here. But to me, Agro has a great ethos with the emphasis on bringing new leadership into the fold and combining forces to make a great program that's sustained by great people. So many of the chairs and leaders of Agro have been inspirational to me and helped me in my personal development and as a contributor to the advancement of agrochemical related science. These include, but not limited to, Rod, Don Walkup, Kevin Armbrust, Al Barefoot, Kathleen Hateman, Sharon Schneider, Heidi Ehrig, and more. I've found many great collaborations within Agro on symposia or papers or just science over the years. And I've met so many great people to work with on both program and related items, and productive discussions by email and phone of various aspects of the fate and transport of agrochemicals. This webinar comes to fruition is just the latest example of the type of productive collaboration I've experienced with Agro members. I want to thank so many for their contributions to making this webinar happen. For Agro, Solito helped so much in working with and adjusting our webinar platform to fit an event like this. Jeanette Van Nieman and Ken Racky were amazingly helpful through their immense foundational work for the celebration of 50 years of Agro at the San Francisco meeting, and providing great ideas of how to best continue with this virtual celebration event today. I also want to thank each and every one of our speakers for agreeing to participate today and for their input in making this a better program. Here's to many, many more years of our division advancing agroscience and supporting one another in our growth as scientists and as good people who care about all that we do in life. So that's my piece.
I guess I can add to that, Dina. I mean, I've been helping out the Agro Division with this webinar series now this is my third year doing that. The first contact I ever had with the Agro Division was for the support of my other professional organization, the International Society for Agrochemical Adjuvants, and and I was in the position to run that symposium in 2016, and without the help of AGRO, we couldn't have possibly gotten record attendance numbers in that meeting, and really a channel between the two organizations. I continue to look for new programming for both organizations and find synergies between the two. This is one of them, and we'll preview a little bit more about the future as we've had our strategic planning meeting just recently. But I'm really excited for the future here as well. So thank you all for your fellowship and your and really your hearts and minds and your creativity moving forward.
Thank you.
I'll go next. I've been AGRO Executive Committee member since 2014. I think it's a really great way to meet people from academia, industry, consulting, just all different people from different backgrounds. I've really enjoyed that. It's really good to help with leadership skills, put together the symposia and work with people from different areas. And I work for Waterborne Environmental, and I've been doing risk assessments and fate and transport modeling for like 30 years. And I've been an AGRO member for probably 30 years also, which I hate to date myself. Sorry about that. But for this gala, we've been wanting to celebrate this 50 years for like 3 years now, I think. I've had an opportunity to work on the timeline. So if you have a chance and haven't seen it, we have a really nice timeline that's a PowerPoint that's interactive on our AGRO website. And it has, over the 50 years, the different products that have been made, the AGRO history, regulations that have come out, the technologies, agricultural industry, food products. And if there's anything that you see that's missing, please let us know and we'll add it. And I think we're excited to see what's going to come out that's new. That's one thing with being at ACS AGRO. There's always new trends that are coming out from the universities. Previously, like with drift, it was just drift with different nozzles from aerial and ground spray. Now there's symposia on drones. You know, there's always something new and some new thing for AGRO, and so that's always really exciting. And I must say that one of the best conferences we had was when AGRO was teamed up with IUPAC in San Francisco 2014, and we had a huge international influence, so lots of global participants in attending that year. So that's one of my favorite conferences.
Hi, everybody. This is Chris Peterson, and it's been a mean minute since I've seen some of you guys. I just haven't been able to attend ACS national meetings or AGRO in quite some time, but I'm still here. Those of you who've met me before, and those of you who haven't met me, pleasure to meet you. So in 2015, I gave a presentation to one of the local sections in Michigan, that was the Upper Peninsula local section, on career paths. And because it was an ACS local section, it gave me an opportunity to reflect on how my involvement with AGRO, when I was speaking to these undergraduate students, you know, how my involvement with AGRO has benefited my career path and helped shape my career path. And I hadn't really thought of that before because, you know, my first ACS meeting was in Chicago in, I believe, 1997. And I was a young master's student, had never experienced anything like an ACS national meeting before. And, you know, 20,000 people, you know, all under the same roof. You know, Cymex blew my mind. I got about 150 ballpoint pens from the expo and more catalogs than I could ever order anything out of. But the AGRO Division, my major prof, had introduced me to AGRO, and it was a good place for a young scientist to call home and to connect into. And so over the years, I've been able to author symposium titles, symposium series titles, publish in several book chapters, many articles in Ag and Food Chem and Journal of Ag and Food Chemistry. And then also, to form networking that has actually led to my current job now. I was at a ACS meeting. Was it Atlanta? I don't remember, but somebody from USDA stood up and said, "Hey, I'm so and so from the Foreign Agricultural Service," and I'm like, "Foreign Ag Service? What's that?" And he said that he was interested in making connections with international scientists around the world, and thought agro was a good place to make that connection. So I started talking to him, and it's like, Foreign Ag Service. Maybe that's kind of a cool place to be. And so, I've served in several positions in the AGRO Division as the membership chair, as executive committee member, and I'm currently the co-chair of the International Activities Committee. So I found that I can be as plugged in as I want to be with agro, even if I can't, even if I can't get on an airplane and come to the meetings for various reasons. But anyway, just agro and ACS has been just a common thread through my entire career. So certainly grateful, and and it's so great to see faces that were there at my first meeting. When I showed up, and who showed me the ropes and showed me how to, basically how to be a professional in this business, and also the people that have come in since I've been there have just added so much value to agro and into my own career. So I could obviously talk for a while about agro, but I'll leave it there for now. So thanks.
Thank you, Chris.
My name is Ashley Brown. I have a similar experience to what Chris was talking about. I feel like I have grown up in agro, at least professionally. I joined ACS back in the early 2000s when I was in grad school, and joined agro probably in 2006. And actually had the opportunity when I was a newly minted assistant professor to showcase my work, and actually received the New Investigator Award in 2008. And I have to say that really sort of jump-started my career. And I say that from the standpoint of giving me the confidence with such an esteemed group to recognize the work of a young faculty member who, really didn't probably have the scientific chops yet to really have that confidence. But having that recognition and being recognized by your peers, I'm immensely grateful to that experience. And from that experience, ACS can be a huge organization. Chris spoke about that. You show up at a national meeting and there's 20,000 people, and you can feel really like a small fish in a big sea. And the AGRO division really makes you feel like family. I remember probably the second time I attended a national meeting, and having Kathleen Hateman from across the room in the expo, after having only been in agro, signed up that year prior, walk across the room at the expo and go, "You're Ashley Brown. I remember you from last year, and you need to come to Blues and Brews, and we need your input." And I was like, wow, this is a fantastic organization. And it was that same spirit that really allowed me to bring my graduate students and allow them to present research at a national meeting in an environment where they wouldn't be afraid, that they were going to receive very encouraging comments, they were going to be engaged in dialogue, and that they were going to get input from some of the leading scientists from around the world. I'm going to tell kind of a funny story. My former graduate student, Dr. Erica Womack, who now has my previous position as the state chemist of Mississippi, when she was in grad school, she was presenting, I believe it was in San Francisco, and she was presenting some work that she had been doing using catchers. And Steve Lahote walked up to her after the presentation and had a conversation with her that truly contributed to her work. And she came running out of the room afterwards and was like, "You're never going to believe this. The Steve Lahote, the Steve Jobs of catchers. I mean, the guru came up to me and had a conversation with me. And it was truly a conversation that was incredibly special just to see her reaction with that. But that's the type of contribution that so many of you have had, not only on me as a member, but also several of my students and others. It truly is a fantastic organization, where you develop relationships for collaboration that will truly last a lifetime. So I just want to say thank you, and I'm happy to be serving again on the executive committee. So thank you.
Well, geez, thank you. I had tears in my eyes. That's really nice, and I'm a little stunned at the moment, but that I think that I'm just doing what Don Walkup and Alan Felsot and others have done with me before. And I remember actually coming up through the ranks. I joined in 1990s. I have 31 years of experience with USDA, Agricultural Research Service. And agro's been a big part of it. Came up through like I said, through the 1990s and met all these very nice people. And it is like a family when you get to know them, and everybody's warm and welcoming, and it's not overwhelming. And I'm asked to provide memory. So thank you, Dina, for doing this. This is nice. And thank you for inviting me. And also immediately when I was asked to do that, I looked back in my email. I had thousands and thousands of emails that just been exchanged over the years. I have a little category for agro, and greatest memories, IUPAC San Francisco. Amy hit the nail right on the head. That was a great meeting. I think that's the first thing that popped up, and especially Ken Racky and Laura McConnell, who did a fantastic job in organizing that. I was just so impressed, so professional, so well done. Also, I remember the agro strategic planning. So I was involved even in the 1990s. Don Walkup asked me to take part. I lived in DC at the time, so it was no big deal. And I went to the meetings, and then the same issues that came up in the 1990s are still cropping up, such as how should we have one meeting a year or two? Should we participate in both of them or not? And everybody was able to give input. As Ashley said, we seek input, and it's a really nice group of people to participate with, and they listen, and they're welcoming. So I have more. I wrote 8 different things down, but in keeping with time, I'll pass it on to the next person.
Well, I'll go next. I'm Sharon Schneider. I've been honored to serve as AGRO's Division Secretary since 2012, and I have very similar insights as the rest of the panel, so I won't repeat them. I also am with the USDA. I work for the Agricultural Research Service, and I joined ACS and AGRO probably about 25 years ago, so a similar time frame to some of the others. I became active in the division following the example of my USDA mentor, Dr. Scott Yates. So in addition to serving as the division secretary, I've been on the executive committee, I'm on the awards committee, I've organized symposia, I've been on the program planning committee, for example, for the IUPAC meeting, nominated colleagues for many awards within AGRO and ACS, and I myself am a fellow of both the AGRO Division and of ACS. So actually, it's kind of shocking that I've been a member of AGRO for about half of its existence, and I've been the secretary for about a quarter of it. I consider AGRO to be my scientific home outside of USDA. And I guess my favorite memories of the division are just the many, many friends that I've made through my service in the division. And that's actually what I want for all of the division's members, is to feel home, feel like AGRO is your home. And many people have talked about this. I thought that was wonderful to see so many early career and international members at the gala reception. And especially to those of you who were born after AGRO was founded. I say to you that 50th anniversary is a great time to look back at our past, but also to look to the future. So make AGRO your own, join a committee, run for office, organize a symposium, get involved in AGRO, and take us into the next 50 years. I'm really looking forward to seeing what happens in our division in the next 50 years under your guys' leadership. Victoria, like you.
I just threw my name out there. Thank you. Okay. I look forward to it.
Okay. Is there anyone else that wants to say anything quickly?
Just quickly, I guess, since Sharon kind of said my name, I'm really new to AGRO. I joined a couple of years ago. I'm a member of the executive committee now, and I really came under the mentorship of Cheryl Cleveland, and I'm with BASF, and she really encouraged me to join AGRO and to really become involved. And I kind of, follow what the other panelists said, and just saying that it is a place of community where you feel welcomed, where you can present your research and really get honest feedback and encouraging feedback from the scientific community in AGRO that's beyond reproach. And so I've had the opportunity to kind of be organizer of several symposia. And so I just want to just thank you for those who continue to encourage people like me to become involved and to continue to move AGRO forward. So I thank you guys, and I look forward to my continued commitment in the future. So that's it.
Right. Great. Thank you. And okay. This is right. Yeah, right. So we're ready for the Michael David's tribute to Jim. And Solito, you want to take it away?
All right, Dana, thank you so much.
Otherwise festive set of meetings in all. Wanted to recognize all the events that took place in August in San Francisco, and that would not be complete without a nod to all the tributes to a great man our community recently lost. Jim Cyber was a pioneer and a giant in agriculture and environmental chemistry, and the AGRO Division of ACS in particular. This was a more somber part of an otherwise festive set of meetings in August, as many of us had hoped to catch up with Jim when we attended ACS. He and his family were a reliable presence at the California meetings in particular. But it was not meant to be, as he passed away in June of this year. At the 50th anniversary gala, Jeanette and Ching gave a heartfelt presentation of remembrances of Jim's life and research that had an impact on so many of us. Also that week, the final event was the AGRO Field Tour, which spent a good part of the day at UC Davis, and that of course brought back more memories and elicited many tributes and glasses raised in Jim's honor. So with that intro, I wanted to give a shortened version of the tribute that was shown by Jeanette and Ching at the evening of the gala, using some collected photos from many years of Jim's life and research. Jim began research under his advisor, Dr. Sturmitz, who was also Rita's advisor at Utah State University. Not many photos exist from back then in the 60s that we could find, but this is a great one of Jim and his advisor on a field trip to Hawaii, where Jim is proudly showing off the best catch of the day. After his doctorate at Utah State, Jim joined Dow Chemicals for a short stint before returning to academia at the University of California at Davis, where he would spend the next 20 plus years defining what analytical agricultural chemistry and environmental chemistry should be. Through his many contributions at University of California, Davis, and afterwards, he is remembered for defining the role of transport of pesticides from the agriculturally rich Central Valley up into the California mountain ranges. And the presence of pesticides in fog was a major finding published here in Nature in 1987. His work paved the way for being able to examine ambient air quality by identifying and quantifying contaminants in air especially. After more than 20 years at the University of California, Davis, Jim was recruited by the University of Nevada to start a new program, the Center for Environmental Sciences and Engineering. Here's a photo of a retreat from his time at the University of Nevada. This was up at Lake Tahoe in 1995 with his research group. I think I was taking the photo, so I was not in there, but here is a photo of me during my graduation from the University of Nevada in 1997. I was just one of a couple dozen doctoral students that Jim produced in his years at from Davis on the way to Nevada. Many of my fellow cyber mentees are still active in the agrochemical division. Some listed here. Significantly, one of the only cases that we could find of a two-generation advisee, as Andrew Coates was an advisee of Jim's after Jeanette, his mother, also was many years before. Of course, the research led to many fruitful relationships with his advisees, as well as recognition through many awards, and service to the agrochemical division, starting as chair in 1987, receiving the International Award for Research in Agrochemicals in 1999, and another significant ACS award, the Sterling Hendricks Award in 2018. This photo is from another award of distinction he received at the University of California in 2018 as well. So many well-recognized contributions to research. His time at ACS, of course, was spent organizing many symposia and then celebrating the success of those symposia. So here's just some pictures with a lot of significant people in the American Chemical Society's agrochemical division in particular. So many fond memories there of meetings. I know this is represented from Washington, D.C. to San Diego, San Francisco, and Boston, just a select few of the meetings that he participated in. And of course, Jim leaves behind a legacy not only of research but of family. We didn't have the most recent photo. If we had, we could show all 7 grandkids that he now has. But we did have one from a few years ago with his 3 sons and their families here, with the start of what is an ever-increasing set of grandchildren for Jim. And of course, we wanted to recognize Rita, who has also been a presence around ACS and around both of his research labs for many years. So we all miss Jim at the American Chemical Society, but of course, no one does more than Rita and his family. So heartfelt condolences to the whole Cyber family, and just wanted to say thanks for the opportunity to remember Jim here once again. And I'm sure his name will live on in many more ACS meetings to come. Thanks.
Dina, you continue.
Yes,
Thank you so much.
Thank you. Yeah, that was a wonderful tribute by Michael David. Okay. All right, Ed and Kataria, are you ready?
We
At this
are.
time?
Yes, we certainly are. So switching gears, that was a absolutely lovely tribute to Jim. We are going to be setting up some trivia questions for all of us as we're about to get into some of the background history of agro. And so we thought it might be appropriate before we do that to have some trivia polls for you all. So I'm going to go ahead and pull up a poll. Let me know if everybody can see the poll. Let's see here. Okay, so can everybody see that? All right, so I'm just going to go ahead and read the question. What year did agro get its full status as a division of ACS? And we're going to start the timer for everybody to respond. We have about a minute.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, we panelists cannot participate, but we see answers rolling in.
Rats.
People apparently can do math. That's good.
Absolutely.
I was thinking the same thing.
It's all right. We need to start out with something that,
Softball. Yeah.
Yes.
Nice and easy, right? Softball. All right.
although it was a subdivision before that, right? So
All right. I think people have more or less locked in their answer.
Mhm.
Okay. So the majority of you have gotten the answer correct. Very good. It is 1970. Let me share the results. Oh, another poll has, I'm trying to share the results, but that's not working. Can everybody see that? Are you seeing the results on your end? We are. Okay, you are. All right, great. So 67% of you got the right answer. So very, very good. So now we'll head back to the next question. All right, some more agro history related questionnaires. Who was the recipient of the first international award for the division?
This one seems to be a little more mixed, huh?
This is going to be it's going to come down to the wire.
Yeah.
I think I know.
Don't say it, Steve.
I could be wrong.
and cheer if you're right then.
We have 50 seconds, Ed.
All righty, we'll move on then. So the majority, let me stop this music. The majority of you answered John Cassida, and that was correct. Very good. 37% of you. So
Mhm.
it was almost a tie, but very, very good agro enthusiasts. All right. So in poll, we'll go to the next question. All right, question 3. In what year did AGRO start the Educational Endowment Fund?
I can give a hint. It was related to IUPAC. It was a
Mhm.
big success.
Very good, Steve.
IUPAC
Yep.
meeting. I was there.
Well, we heard your story, and I think it could have been any of the answers then. Based on how long you've been an AGRO member.
I remember
we-
the fireworks.
We made the range of answers closer for this question. We figured probably many of you actually
Tough one.
remember.
I actually don't know the answer to this.
I think I met Rodney there. I bet because we might have. I went to the fireworks as well, and I think we met Rodney in that.
I think we did too. We had our German colleagues there telling us about beryllium and all these kind of things as the fireworks were going off. They knew what chemicals were going off. It
That's
was like a
awesome.
spectrum.
Yeah, going to fireworks
that-
with scientists.
Yes.
All righty.
But
Well,
let us know and reveal the
Yep.
results.
Yep, the results are all right. The majority of you answered 1994. And is that correct? It is. Very good. All right, awesome. Got to add a little suspense, we got to keep us all engaged here. Okay. All right, we'll go back. And fourth question. All right. What was the name of the division in 1970? It wasn't always the agrochemicals division.
Oh, it was not.
Or maybe it was. I don't know. It's not one of the answers.
You really had to go there with the
Choices
fourth
here.
choice, didn't you?
Yeah, really, really confused everybody.
Yeah, some interesting choices there.
Yeah. We got a few takers on the vanguard of
The
agrochemistry.
vanguard of
That- That's
agrochemistry.
certain. Yeah, that certainly should have been what it was named.
Maybe we'll change the name.
Yeah, are you suggesting how to change the name? Another big topic of conversation.
Yeah, maybe. Making pesticides great again.
I have to go there.
Okay, I think we're locked in here. And yes, the majority of you answered the division of pesticides. Very good. That is what the name was prior to 1970. All right. And we'll go on to the fifth question. Okay. Who is the current program chair of AGRO? So with all your program related questions, this is who you get to bother. Ooh,
Ooh,
Close. This
it's
is
a close one.
interesting.
this is an opportunity to correct myself. The
Yeah.
call for
Now, this
but-
isn't who you want to be the program chair. This is
No,
who
this
is
is the
program chair.
current as of this year.
this is an opportunity to correct.
Although, maybe who you want to be the program chair and who is the program chair is the same answer. Just maybe. All right. I think we can call it there. Things have kind of stabilized.
Yep.
All right. Share results. And the majority of you were correct. James Foster is this year's programming chair for our meeting in our fall meeting in Denver.
Absolutely.
All right.
Yes, and just to clarify, symposia topics are due November 3rd. I was incorrect and unclear with that on an earlier slide.
Thank you, Salito. Yep, that's right. That's this Friday. So finish off those symposium proposals. Okay. And then our last question, and we'll do this kind of quickly because we might be going a little over time. What were the first, I guess, what year were the first, there we go. Sorry. What year were the first GMO crops available commercially?
Ooh, those answers came in fast.
just as a quick aside, these questions were intended for the live gala event. That we had
Yes,
some technical difficulties, so
because
this is
they are
all new to
all,
everybody.
yes, all of these questions are available on the lovely timeline
That's
that
correct.
was presented at the gala in the back
Yeah.
that Rob said near the curtains.
Somebody put a link to the where the timeline is in the chat while we're doing this. Be good.
Yeah.
All right, I'll end the poll and. Okay, so the majority of you answered 1996, and that is correct. I hope none of you were looking at Google for that. But if you knew that off the top of your head, very good. If you Googled that, you get no points. No, wonderful. Great. So I think that takes us right about to our little allotted time for this first trivia break. We have a lot more trivia questions, so please stay tuned throughout the rest of our time today together. Katoria's right. Many of the questions are from that AGRO timeline. There are a few at the end that are a little extracurricular and kind of just ask general knowledge questions about agrochemicals. So we'll see if we can get some good discussion going if depending on the answers we get back. So, all right, I will close the poll now.
Thank you everyone for participating.
Yeah, thank you.
Thank you. And I am just going to move along, try to get us a little more caught up here. And so and just the history of the programming. And 2008 is when we started doing generally just the fall meeting for technical programming. Timeline was just discussed, and we had a couple of peaks in membership. What was it 2014 IUPAC, and then another conference. We had membership drive and free membership and so forth that added on. And so anyway, and just give you a few highlights of this symposium that was chaired by Jeanette and Ken. And we had distinguished speakers review noteworthy accomplishments and forecast future developments. These are the speakers here. Thomas Sparks was a poster. Thomas Sparks talked about evolution of an industry from agrochemicals to crop protection. The evolution and agrochemicals, transgenic plants, the growing interest and use in biologics and moving away from broad spectrum agrochemicals to more targeted ones. Keith Solomon was also a speaker, and he received the IUPAC International Award for Advances in Harmonized Approaches to Crop Protection Chemistry. And he had excellent history of risk assessment. He talked about the a lot of early incidents, even farm worker deaths and the array of adverse effects on non-target organisms as the science and the analysis of actual risk wasn't well developed at that time. And had interesting reviews, some really Middle Ages or historical books appearing in the 1600s talking about the concept of risk and the advent of ecological risk assessment. This was a really interesting excerpt from a work published in 1861, and a quote from that was, "If therefore the risk of an evil ought to be proportional not only to its magnitude, but also to its probability, as there's scarcely any kind of death more rare than death from thunder, there's scarcely anything which ought to occasion less fear, seeing especially that fear does not at all help us to avoid it." And yeah, it's a challenge to step back from the fear and objectively analyze and independently analytically rank a risk. Interesting to see that in that work from the 1800s. Nagar Garisi talked about agri-science innovation in the age of big data and modern technology, and the challenge of feeding a growing world population, and just the integration of information from different fields of science and to collaboratively develop innovative solutions to these global problems that we have. H.N. Chung talked about green modifications of agro-based materials, and just the fact that agro materials are increasingly being used to take advantage of their positive sustainability, eco-friendly properties, and modifications of them to increase their applicability. Alan Falsott talked about the future of crop protection technology and need for appropriate skeptical inquiry. Started out talking about a lot of historical information, the move away from the really non-specific, extremely persistent and compounds, and the development of the integrated pest management principles, and also about the inclusion of biological controls to give us more tools and better tools along with the chemical. And he talked a lot about the family tree and the history, which was really interesting. And just an example, the 1959 publication on integrated control concept, and then the Clyde Kearns and R.L. Metcalf pioneering pesticide selectivity research, and it noted the importance of really carrying on the torch to the future in education and understanding the whole concepts and interacting factors, and noted that the dose makes the poison is grounded in fundamental chemistry principles. Anna Gore talked about the importance of specialty crops and finding ways to get the research base and foundation for the use of these minor crops and their special importance locally, being of high value and economically important in developing countries. Daniel Swale gave an excellent presentation on building a career within the division and a perspective of academic, and it's interesting the way that he talked similar to the way many of you talked in your opening statements, and it's just the importance of agro and what it meant to him. He first joined agro as a master's student. Now he's professor and helping many young scientists grow their careers, and you know, the importance of the things that we do to help that, poster competitions for students, postdoctoral awards, innovative program grants, and travel awards. So we are ready for the next quiz, and we'll try to get through this a little rapidly, and we're almost back on track with the timing too. So take it away, Victoria and Ed.
Okay. See if I can do it this time. So for for trivia number 7, when was the EPA founded? And we'll give like 30 seconds here to move things along. Back. Okay, so everyone seems to have locked in their answers. Let's end. All right, and we're going to share the results. I hope I'm doing this correctly.
Yeah. Uh-oh, we have a split decision here.
Right.
That's pretty close.
That is pretty close.
Well, that's the answer.
So the answer is, I know because I work for the EPA, is 1970. But can we share the results here? Or does the answers pop up, Ed, here? Or I don't know.
No, they don't. Unfortunately, there's no way to do that in a poll, but I have the sheet with all the answers, so I can.
Oh, you might have should have done this then, but I just knew that one. Okay. So
yeah, I'm happy to weigh in, but so far in all the trivia questions, the majority of people have answered the right answer. So
okay.
So it's almost the case now with this question. We've got a tie for the right answer.
All right. So should I stop sharing and then continue?
49% each.
Yeah. Right. Uh-oh. How do I continue on?
You have to go to the back button up at the top. Yeah, it's a little tricky.
Perfect. Okay. Next question. Who won the Nobel Prize for DDT?
This looks like a process of elimination kind of question.
Yes.
This is fun. We made them, they were challenging enough.
Yeah, this is pretty challenging. I like this one. All right, so looks like we have 71% at Paul Mueller. Let's see. And now let's share the results. And it looks like Paul Mueller is the top choice. Ed, is that correct?
That is correct.
That is correct. I was like, I think that is correct. Okay.
Paul Mueller is credited with the Nobel Prize for DDT for characterizing its activity on insects, but he did not synthesize it. It was synthesized by Othmar Zeidler. So just some fun facts about DDT.
Right. And on to the next one. Ivermectin is a systemic vermifuge, I don't know if I'm pronouncing that correctly, agent that can be mass administered to humans for the removal of select parasites. Is this true or false? There was a lot of things in the news in the past few years about ivermectin, so we might be familiar with that one. All right.
And it seems to be breaking out politically, even
I know,
50-50.
right?
So,
we don't want that, no, but we were just saying there's a lot of things in the news about it. That's all I mentioned. All right, let's see. So it seems to be 50-50 with true or
wow.
false. Let's see.
Let's see a few more.
And share. So it's pretty split. And give us the answer.
That is true.
True.
It is true.
Yes. True. All right. Press the back button and on to the next one. What year were neonics? I just, introduced. Okay, we seem to have the 1992 seems to be winning out here.
I did a quick scan about Google search term ivermectin. It apparently peaked August 29 to September 4th, 2021.
I told you. it was a peak. So lots of news about ivermectin and how it was being used, unfortunately, the wrong way. All right.
It's being searched. That's all I know.
All right, let's see. So the consensus here seems to be 1992. Ed, what year?
And that is incorrect. The first neonicotinoid patent was 1990.
1990. Yep. All right. Back. And just let us know how many, Dina, this is in the essence of time. When should we end? Or just let me know. I'm not keeping time, unfortunately.
Yeah, actually, let's stop with this one and then
okay, last one
goes, and we'll bring you guys back on.
Yeah, I just want to make sure we keep on time. It respects everyone's time. Okay. So did we do this one already? Oh, who won the Nobel? Oh, see, that's the follow-up question. All right. Interesting choices here, Ed. All right, quickly. So everyone says 83% is in for, now 75 for William Campbell. So we're going to end and share the results. And Ed, what's the answer here?
It is William Campbell. Yep.
William Campbell. Yeah, that's what
saved many lives with ivermectin fighting parasites.
Absolutely. All right, I'm going to stop sharing. And again, thank you everyone for participating in the second trivia break. All right, take it away, Dina.
All righty. Okay, time for some discussion, and we'll have a few panel, and we'll have a few questions in here to seat our discussion, and a couple poll questions. First thing, Salito, tell us about the Strategic Planning Committee.
Yeah, as you can see, Ed was most certainly in on the Strategic Planning Committee. I was as well. You could somehow Heidi was not in the picture, but she was also there as well. But we certainly missed Rodney at the Strategic Planning Committee. You know, it was It was facilitated by former ACS President Bill Carroll and Carol Duane, retiree who's running these programs as a volunteer for ACS. We went over the mission and vision statements for the AGRO division, and we allowed those two statements and the strengths of the organization to really dictate where we should be in the next 5 years in terms of where we need to go. So from here, the strategic plan will go through the executive committee, and we all as AGRO members should expect updates and perhaps some outreach about supporting our efforts in meeting the goals of the strategic plan. Did you have anything else to add to that, Ed?
Yeah, no, great job, Solito. And like you said, we're gonna first liaise with the executive committee about rolling out the strategic plan for the next 5 years. But all I want to add to what Solito mentioned, it was very successful, like he said. Big picture foci for the next 5 years, the digitization of our governance at AGRO, making things a little bit more successful and accessible to people in the digital era, and also bolstering our commitment to students and young scientists. I'd say as a majority of our strategic objectives, I think that's really what we're going to be focusing on for the next 5 years.
Sounds great. Okay. Solito, can you?
Yeah, let's pull a poll up. Okay. You launch this poll. Nope. We have a poll here. And this has more to do with the looking to the future part. You know, always good to get a pulse on our attendees who are so generous to join us. You know, what barriers prevent people who could contribute to and benefit from participating more in the AGRO division? You could choose up to 3 of the most significant answers in the poll. You have some people left to answer. That's 3 of the most significant. That should get us a pretty good idea about what are the leaders and the most pressing ones as we move forward. About 55 seconds in. All right, I'm going to end this in 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Well, it looks like we have two. When given a choice of 3, we have 2 leaders here. You know, lack of awareness of the great things done by great people in AGRO. We have lack of finances for meetings, and then company employer limitations on participation. Those are, I would think, those 2 are linked. Scary, did we have anything in the other ones that we should bring out? I know we had 1.
There's nothing listed in the chat.
Yeah, feel free to put, if you think of other things you'd like us to include, put it in the chat. But we are going to move on, but next one. But I just note that this is things that are overcome by events like this. It's get people in on this. We're learning about the great things done by great people, and there's no cost. So,
yeah, thanks, Alan, for clarifying.
Yeah, Alan Felsot chatted in. Limitations include competing interest with proliferation of professional societies. For example, CTEC probably attracted folks around 1980 and beyond that would have been associated with AGRO.
Mm-hmm.
So many meetings.
Okay. And interest of time, keep it short, but any panel members want to add anything to this? Any?
Yeah, those were in line with what we were finding and what we were acting upon in the strategic planning. That's for sure. Do you agree with that, Ed?
I do. Yeah. Sorry, I keep turning off my camera, but no, absolutely. I think these are really the big picture topics that we have been focusing on and will be focusing on. And yeah, we need enthusiastic volunteers to help out with all of these objectives moving forward. So yeah, we hope we can turn to each of you to help out carry this vision forward for the next 5 years.
Thanks. Yeah. So
all right, I'm going to launch the next one here.
Yep.
In the past 5 years, what types of agro events have you participated in besides webinars? Because we all know you're on a webinar today. Please answer all that apply. Not seeing anything rolling in. There we are. For my end, it's been the national meeting, you know, and the social events that are tied to the national meeting.
My screen is showing both questions 1 and 2 simultaneously.
Right. Yeah, that's right. Question 3 would be, in the last 5 years, has it become harder or easier for you and your colleagues to attend the ACS Agro National Meeting? So we have that open question as well. If you want to advance the slide, Dina. But we have both questions in the poll. So.
Oh, right. Yeah. Okay.
Extra time on that.
Can everyone's? It's very simple. Harder, easier, about the same.
Yeah, from my personal standpoint, and this goes back to how important agro is to me. You know, I've probably changed jobs 3 times since I really started with agro, and this has been the real rock between my professional development and my various career changes. And to be quite honest, it has become harder to keep it.
Yeah. It's good to see this show up in the polls. It's what I seem to think, but yeah.
Okay, we'll close this up in 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. And we'll show those results at this point.
Okay.
Looks like national meetings, social events, governance meetings and activities, and then local or regional meetings. That's one that I wish I personally could get engaged with more of the local or regional meetings. But we have a lot of meetings to choose. And in the last 5 years, has it become harder or easier for you and your colleagues to attend the ACS Agro National meetings? It has become harder for 70% of you. All right. So well, Dina, you have the next one pulled up, so we'll launch that.
Yeah. This is just something for people to put answers in the chat. No poll here.
Oh, no poll. Okay. All right.
Yeah,
I'll end that. Sorry. We'll bring that up later.
So your top priority to improve the national meeting. So you got ideas, please tell us. Write them in the chat. Okay, and let's see. Okay.
And these are all
any further discussion on this? Anything else you guys can think of that needs to be said?
No, I just wanted to quickly say, you know, these were all things that were touched upon in the strategic planning retreat. And, you know, we understand that it seems to be harder for people to make it to the national meetings because of fiscal constraints or, you know, the lack of being able to have your employer send you. And so what we're trying to do is we're trying to make a lot more virtual options available. So that definitely seems to be a path forward. So a vast majority of people suggested that we have both virtual and in-person meetings moving forward. So that seems to be where we're headed. And then also incorporating more events throughout the year, and also more social events as well, to kind of build a greater sense of community. So we're working on that, but any extra ideas or comments, please let us know.
I think that one thing that somebody mentioned about, so many meetings, and I think many of us are targeting are attending the more targeted meetings. And so I think you're right on with that, having more events throughout the year, but perhaps with a more narrow focus rather than just the national meeting. That could even be entirely online.
Yep. Yeah.
Yeah. That's one of the things I've been thinking about, is like, floated the idea of a few people as we're getting into the importance of virtual events in the last couple of questions, but having in addition to our big national meeting, which still definitely has its place, and it's a great event for everybody that can get there. The problem is not everybody can get there. But having like a all virtual technical program once a year, start out with that, maybe just start out one day a year and do that.
Yeah, and I don't want to steal Solito's thunder, but because he was working on this strategic aim during the retreat, and we will again present this to the executive committee. But I think that you perfectly capture it. That is what we're planning, is to set up, mini virtual events throughout the year, some technical, some social, some professional development. I mean, it really will span the gamut in terms of what we might be able to offer, and to have a virtual platform that's there for our members to get access to AGRO outside of that national meeting. Not to take away from the national meeting, but to just add more access to AGRO, on the off-cycle periods of the year. So.
Yeah, I agree with that. I think the national meeting it has its huge place in program, but combining things and diversifying our offerings and having more things that more people can participate in just seems to be so important in this day and age. And I think we've learned by events like today that we can have some great interaction at virtual events like this. Now, you can't walk down the hall and talk to somebody, which you can do at the in-person meetings, though you could contact them afterwards. But yeah, I think there's a great place, and this is the. I think this may be our last poll question. Here, question 5.
Great. Here we are. Yeah, how great is the potential for virtual meetings and activities in AGRO to extend member participation and grow AGRO's impact going forward? Very great, great, moderate, or quite infinitesimal? Infinitesimal.
I barely remember a time before Zoom and Teams. And I do remember when it first started, it felt so contrived and awkward and, I don't know, separate and distant. And now if I have a Zoom meeting with somebody, I feel like we actually did sit down and have a cup of coffee together. So I think we're getting used to it. We're getting better at it. And even us people who are mature.
Yeah, for the previous items, we're also very lucky to have James Foster in our audience, so he's listening in on all of these discussions. And,
great.
And, thank you very much, James, for taking on the thankless responsibility of being program chair.
Well, 92% of you thought it's great or very great. So there you go. We have made improvements from our early days where virtual meetings were so clunky and seemed so artificial. But I think we've overcome that barrier with events like today. So nice to see that.
All right.
The one thing I wanted to say too is this is helpful as long as we remember that we're also ambassadors for AGRO. It's our division. Let's spread the word and make sure that people do see the value and the potential for all members is something that we really need to think about, both in academia, industry, and in government. There is a need, and this need can be filled with whatever the people need, because it's going to be very personalized in many cases.
And Ronnie, we'll talk a little bit more as we on the close, but I'm trying to open this webinar series up to sandbox ideas such as this panel discussion and this gala event. Will it be perfect? Absolutely not. But we need to dive in, have people, less people like Dina to help us out launch this, and really give a good effort to what works and what doesn't, improve things.
Okay, and just if you have specific ideas about virtual events, put those in the chat. And we are going to move on. And just to close us out, we just have this general question about what we need to improve on. We've already talked about this in some context, but if you have more to say on that, now's the time. And let's have our wrap-up discussion. Anything important that you want to say to close us out here, and then we'll bring it back to Solito after we've spent a couple minutes on this.
This is Steve. I'll give a little input. First of all, there's some logistics that ACS has. I've talked to Rodney so many times over the years about ACS logistics, even just joining as an affiliate member. I'm not sure they've corrected the, you had to fill out a faxed form or something and you couldn't use your credit card, these kinds of details. So ACS as an organization also, it's very expensive, and the ACS umbrella can be overwhelming for smaller divisions like AGRO. And that's one of the limitations, but AGRO can be independent in its own way by having, we do have budgets and control. So that's all good stuff. And the expansion, you could see from Sharon's slide that the membership's gone down. And it's the industry, for one. That's just the nature of the field. It's going through that kind of transition. But there are opportunities to expand to veterinary drugs or to the newer emerging contaminants, or not just analytical chemistry, but the food safety arena. I know that ag and food and agro have had this split. But I think that other niches have taken the opportunities away from agro, because it's actually, I tried veterinary drugs, for example. I tried to bring in veterinary drugs into the fold every year to have, every 4 years even, to have a vet drug symposium. But money goes, the travel from the people internationally is very difficult. So I believe that virtual, in that kind of domain, you pick a subject and you get the top people together to give talks and interactions on a selective topic, that will expand the scope. So I think, for example, the veterinary drug world could use another virtual, or we can turn it into virtual, because I don't think they're going to be able to come to the meetings, but they would be able to do virtual talks and virtual discussions. So
Yeah,
that's,
I second that. I mean, yeah, I think that's a really good idea for our future, to have symposia in, like you say, in specific fields, or you could maybe do 2 different topics at a time or something, but that it couldn't. So it really supplements and augments and adds to what we're doing at the national meeting, and brings in people that can't participate in the national meeting.
but not only that, to expand the base, because you're a lot of people join AGRO for the specific topic that they're in, and you talked about earlier. I think the emails go out to the same people, the members, and the members are doing that. You need to somehow target new arenas outside of the normal scope, but still within the AGRO, AGS, is that the word? Within the AGRO domain and mission, but just sort of that are underrepresented.
Yeah, to get the word out and get these people thinking about that it's really possible to do things and be active in AGRO. And I wish for this particular event today that I had been able to figure out more how to spread the word to people, and that's something we should think about for future virtual events, is how to get that word out. And I think we're going to have to go. Put your feedback in the chat, and anything you liked or didn't like or can be improved about events like this. And Solito, we'll let you close us out.
All right, great. Thank you so much, Dina. This was a lion's share of work. Let me again correct an earlier slide. Symposia topics are due to James Foster by November 3rd. Yes, Dina, this also needs a correction there as a senior chemist with the U.S. EPA Office of Pesticide Programs. So thank you very much for joining this webinar. We extend our gratitude to our speakers, our panelists, Eurofins AgroScience Services, our webinar coordinator, Kyle Sawyer, and the webinar committee for their contribution. Your feedback is valuable, and a follow-up survey may be requested. If you're interested in supporting future webinars and content, you see a few of these line items that are in my box for 2024. Please reach out to me. I can certainly use the content help and some others that can navigate Zoom for 2024 as well. For next year, we're happy to bring back Eurofins as the sponsor of this webinar series. We are developing the schedule and content for next year, all on Wednesdays at noon Eastern, roughly in March, April, and May, and then September, October, November. We should kick around November, according to Kyle, our webinar coordinator. With this program and others that AGRO offers, we're updating our list of exciting and relevant topics to enhance your network and your knowledge base. And well, before we abruptly end, saying that, we wish you all a happy upcoming 2024, and we hope to see you in this webinar series next year. Thank you so much.
And this event is recorded, so if you want to pass it on to other people, you'll be able to do that if they want to listen in afterwards.
Yeah, right. We are our best advocates, that's for sure, and that was one conclusion.
And I would hazard a guess that if you have input that you weren't able to put in the chat, or that comes to you later, or that you come up with after watching the recording, I'm sure that any of us would be happy to receive that and pass it along to the appropriate people.
Okay.
Thank you, everyone.
Thank
Happy
you, everyone.
holidays.
Have a wonderful
Yeah.
day.